All right, welcome back, everyone. Hitting the Hardcourt podcast. It's Thursday. It's opening round day. It is a brilliant day. It is a lovely day. I am your host, JT, Josh Thompson, a.k.a. whoever that man is, a.k.a. Mama, there go that man. And Jason decided to come on from the West Coast as well, joining us on the show today. And like I said, it's March, it's madness going on, and we're talking nothing but brackets today because this is exciting. I was born in this month. Jason, I don't know about you. I'm just terribly excited. Nice day off for me, so I get to do nothing but sit back and watch a lot of basketball. Tell me, how is your bracket doing so far, man?
My bracket remains intact, thank God, because had it not, then I would be a stressed out man right now. But everything seems to be going good. I have no issues. I'm very surprised. I stepped out of the house for a quick second. I'm very surprised that Notre Dame barely pulled it out. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting them to eventually get it going. But from what I've seen, Princeton was playing really good. They were playing the zone really well. So, congrats to Notre Dame.
Speaking on that game, you're definitely looking at a team in Princeton and Notre Dame. I think this was a very great matchup by the committee. Great job of putting these two teams together. Princeton did a really good job on executing exactly what they did best, which was the three-point shot. They actually got a lot more interior points on this game and sort of dug out this win. Notre Dame going down the stretch couldn't get Princeton to commit more turnovers than they were used to, which was they're averaging about 10 on the season, and they were right about that at that point. Notre Dame, they couldn't quite execute. They went into a little bit of a scoring funk for a while. Princeton battled back, and it came down to the last seconds. That game got me excited, and that was the second game from the AC. Well, that was the first game overall. That was the second game from the ACC, however, that we had that was very close. And we almost had another upset today. The University of North Carolina, Wilmington, UNCW. Where the heck did these guys come from and decided they wanted to play ball with Virginia?
Exactly.
I don't know if this really gets anyone else excited because college basketball, granted, it's all one and done, but this is the best any given Sunday tournament that you can ever have for yourself. And if you just like excitement, if you don't like watching the same teams play over and over again, like in the Big Four for basketball, well, actually mostly basketball and baseball because they have series in their tournaments, but you like some parity. This is the best collection of anything could happen. It comes down to one shot. Virginia didn't come down to one shot. Notre Dame did, but man, oh man. Right now, we got a couple of games left, and I don't know. My bracket is looking okay. I am overall for the number brackets, I did about 8. I would have had a really bad opening round in 6 of my brackets had Notre Dame lost today.
That's insane.
Because I called an almost upset for Princeton. So 6 out of my 8 brackets, I called Notre Dame simply because I went for seeding in that point. I mentioned this earlier in the Tuesday broadcast that we will definitely be seeing a few double-digit teams coming into this tournament, and also to look out for the early play against Gonzaga with them as a number 1 seed overall. Tell me, are you tuned into the South Dakota State Gonzaga game right now?
That game is actually I'm not. I'm looking at the Eastern Tennessee and Florida game, which has gotten rather interesting because it seems like Eastern Tennessee has a lot of movement in their offense and they're able to switch everything on defense, and it looks like. And that's where I think that's where I look at a lot of these games and stuff. This is, like you said, this is one of the greatest times. I'm looking at how they are matching up against this big powerhouse SEC team, and they're not having their way, but they're just literally they're comfortable. I mean, they're down. Florida's up 4, but Eastern Tennessee State, they look comfortable running their sets against the Florida defense. So I look at it like, this is the greatest time because these guys, they're able to play with these guys. And out of nowhere, no one will ever hear about Eastern Tennessee State until they make the tournament again. But right now, they're holding their own, and you can't hate that.
I think one of the most exciting things about the entire tournament overall is watching teams just light it up and all of a sudden turn it on and hustle. It's almost like watching street ball games, really good street ball games, because it in the end comes down to which team can execute more and which team can execute better. And I don't know. I'm just kind of shaking right now. I wanted to talk about a little bit about the South Dakota State game simply because early on you can see that South Dakota State was definitely out hustling Gonzaga.
Right.
They were giving them frustrations. Gonzaga could get their offensive game going, especially with their interior scoring. However, they have since blown open the lead to a 19-point lead, and
I just turned to it.
Right now, it's almost that's all she wrote. They're closing up the first half. And I am particularly excited overall just to see how this team, which has gone past the Elite Eight, I believe, in each of the times that they've been to the NCAA tournament. I like to see how far Mark Few can take this team, and if they're well coached enough to where they're not just simply another team with a big man like they have been in seasons past. Of course, we're talking about the teams with like the Adam Morrisons and the Sabonises, and so on and so forth. Let's just hope that this team can go the distance. But yeah, overall, definitely been great so far. We're going to get back to how our brackets are doing. We're going to give you updates on how our group is doing overall as far as who's leading right now in the group. Of course, it's too early to tell because we need a few more games to kind of get some parity, to get some distance. But let's change real quick. And we're going to talk about the NBA a little bit because there are still a couple things happening, and you don't forget that teams are still vying for the playoffs. Just real quick, I want to talk about how significant do you think is this Chicago injury with Dwayne Wade now out for the rest of the season?
I think that this Chicago season was over with maybe about 6 weeks ago. Honestly, Jimmy Butler can't do it all. And I think that when him and Wade called the team out publicly, I kind of think that, you know how they say players stop listening to coaches? I kind of think that the players stopped listening to those two players. And it became something of these guys are out for – Wade is out. I mean, I don't know what Wade is out for aside another ring because he has rings. He has, 3 rings? And Butler is out for either another deal or, I guess, rings. But he's making it seem like these guys don't want to win as bad as he does. And I think that with Wade being out, that's just icing on the cake. You knew your season was over with. I kind of feel as though Butler now thinks, you know what, y'all should have just traded me. Wade is thinking, you know what, let me just walk at the end of the year. Because Wade still has a little bit to offer a squad, but now he looks at it kind of like, dang, I probably should have, signed somewhere else. Because going home has been nothing but uselessness.
Hindsight is always 20/20. I completely agree. I think that Chicago's season was pretty much done going in when Rondo actually went out for a little bit, and he was getting most of the flack for the team's failures. Not enough of the pressure was put on the other two superstars in order to actually produce on the defensive end. That's another story. I think that an elbow fracture being out for the rest of the season is definitely significant, especially if it's on a shooting arm. This team really wasn't going anywhere after they lost their big man in Pau Gasol.
Right.
Definitely the character of the team overall has changed. I think Fred Hoiberg had a difficult job coming into the season to try and essentially will this team back into the playoffs. Not like a Tom Thibodeau team where they are sort of a grinded out defensive-minded, then we'll score team. Really hard to just change that overall. But we'll see where this team goes. And again, we'll keep you updated on the NBA side as we go. Definitely want to focus today on the March Madness, and going forward, one of the games that I'm most excited to watch, which I probably won't be able to because, of course, we all have jobs. We all have other things to do today. Number 3, Florida State. Definitely excited to see them play tomorrow, or if I actually get the chance. We'll see. I don't know, Jason, what's the team that you're most excited to see in this tournament, or probably today?
I'm not sure when the game is, but I am interested in seeing either it's two matchups: SMU versus USC, or the I think it's Maryland Xavier. Yeah, Maryland. I'm looking forward to seeing how good Melo Tremblay is, and I'm looking to see how well that Xavier defense can keep him from getting into the paint, because I know that they have a really good defense, but I know Melo Tremblay he's a pretty legit guard. So I'm looking forward to those two matchups.
Have a majority of my picks with Xavier over Maryland today. And just double checking the schedule. Florida State is playing Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast, this evening, 6:20 our time. We'll definitely keep you updated around that time.
Definitely.
And the other game that you mentioned, which was
Maryland Xavier,
and the USC SMU game. USC, of course, getting qualified for the big dance by winning their in-game tournament, in-game game against Providence. I believe that's the team that they played. They of course got in, and that could spark a team to at least go on a miniature run. Opening round, of course, you're playing 3 games instead of 2. I think that extra game for some teams that need to gel a little bit more might be a little bit better for them, so that way they can see exactly where their offense is at and what small things they need to tweak. By now, they're either ready to play or they're not. And the other small thing is that I think this team has needed experience in order to reach some sort of extra level in the tournament. It's something that they've been missing for a while. So I hope that they get a good upset today. SMU definitely not looking like the favorites coming into this tournament, but they have, again, as you mentioned with Xavier, they too have a decent defense that can swarm you, very fast on the ball, a little turnover prone, but they can definitely produce. We're going to keep you tuned in, and we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in a few, no pun intended, after this Gonzaga game. You guys stay tuned, and we'll be keeping you updated as the day goes on.